James Gunn thanks fans after being reinstated for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That is the headline on this week's Movie Burner News, John.
Yes, Stephen, I have to say, I've seen this news drop, and I believe it was last week, or at least a few days ago anyway. I remember messaging you to let you know. I don't know if you'd already seen it.
No, I was very surprised.
It was a surprise to me, Stephen, I have to say. I seen his tweet, where he was obviously thanking everybody and Disney for obviously getting the opportunity to come back on and direct Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and I was absolutely delighted by the news, because it was an absolute joke, Stephen. We discussed this on our audio shows. I can understand why people were upset with obviously James Gunn and the tweets from 10 years ago. Some of them were a little bit dodgy, to say the least. They were below the belt.
Listen, to be fair,
the line was well crossed.
I don't normally say this, John, but to be fair to Disney, they have to be seen to be doing something. In this day and age, there's no place to hide. And unfortunately, these things came up. It's unfortunate he said the things in the first place, but listen, he did. There's nothing he can do about it apart from apologise. I think his, his apologies were very sincere, well constructed as well at the time. Because I can see it from that angle. I'm glad to see he's back. I didn't think Disney would back down on this. I'd never heard of that before from any studio.
I think they realised that they were wrong, Stephen. Yeah. Because even the story of Guardians of the Galaxy, it's about people. I mean, it was almost like his life on an artistic level, just the forgiveness, making a mistake and then learning from it, growing from it, becoming a better individual after it.
Listen, that sums it up.
That's basically the story of Guardians of the Galaxy, Stephen. This unlikely group of people come together, they change, they grow together, and they become superheroes. And that was essentially his life. He was putting it into the story. What was happening, it was a visual representation of his life up until that point. He'd made mistakes. He was an almost reactionary comedian 10 years ago. He was toeing the line, well, not toeing the line, he was crossing the line. Really pushing the boundaries to see what he could get away with. He thought he was being smart at the time, but he wasn't. He made mistakes. He actually apologised for the tweets prior to obviously the outrage from last year. And then they obviously were, I think it was right-wing loonballs get a hold of them, and also used it as a brush to beat him with, or a stick to beat him with.
I'm glad to see he's back. I think it's the right decision, John. Another thing you've got to look at as well, the continuity of the trilogy. I assume that's going to be 3 films anyway. I don't know whether they'll carry on after that. But the tone would take a serious shift without Gunn involved. I'm not saying that other directors can't come in and leave their mark, but that's the problem. They're going to leave their own mark with these characters. The actors as well were very loyal to the director, and rightly so. I think over the last 5 or 6 years, I think they've grew a good bond between the actors and the director. And I think they're going to be delighted to see that he's back on board as well.
Well, some of them have already reacted on Twitter, Stephen, and stuff like that. I think it was Karen Gillan perhaps posted, "I am Groot," or "We are Groot." I don't think Dave Bautista's reacted as of yet. He's maybe still regretting throwing his toys out of the pram quite so much. He's
probably renegotiating his contract, John, now.
But look, I'm absolutely delighted, as you did say, Stephen. It wouldn't have been the same without him. I'm glad to see he's going to come back and take this franchise going forward, hopefully going forward. Hopefully it's not just one film and then he's going to go away and do his own thing again. Hopefully he will step back into the role of maybe being in control of the whole cosmic side of things, the Eternals and stuff like that. Certainly I think that's what they had in place before the plans for him. He was going to tackle the whole cosmic side of the MCU going forward. Hopefully now, with him being reinstated to direct Guardians of the Galaxy 3, we'll see him reassume that project, or also that side of the MCU. But I'm absolutely delighted, because the guy's got a unique way of just storytelling, the way he blends the humour, the music, and the tone of it all. It's all coming from him and his ability to get good performances out of the actors and stuff like that. As you did say, the great chemistry and the relationship he's got with them. And as I did say, it's just like a visual representation of the man himself, Stephen. The stories, he puts his life, work and his blood and sweat and tears into these stories. He's passionate about them, so I'm delighted to see he's coming back. I do think Disney have been backed into a corner slightly with the reaction of the cast. Obviously directors like Taika Waititi coming out and saying, "I don't want to do that, I couldn't do that to James." Obviously Gunn, he didn't want to kind of stab him in the back by stepping in as a director. I think there's been a whole host of other directors probably said to him, "Look, we're not doing it, it's not right." And they've realised Look, the only way they're going to get this done is to go back to James once it's all blown over, and it has, and then bring him back on board. And I'm delighted because it's hopefully going to lead to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 coming out sooner rather than later, because we did hear that it had been canned and kicked off down the road.
I think that was another concern for the studio, was the scheduling as well, because as you know, they're a well organised bunch at Marvel and Disney, and when they announce certain pieces of their jigsaw, they want to stick to that, John. So I think it was a no-brainer bringing the established director back on board, complete this third instalment of this side of the franchise. Dave Bautista, will he be back? I think he will. I think
he will, yeah.
Just getting into our next topic though, John, how it's going to have an effect on the Suicide Squad. Who knows? I think I don't think it's going to have a major effect on it. Two different types of films. And
we've seen various directors, Stephen, flip-flop in and out of the MCU. Obviously, Taika Waititi's done his own thing. He's come in and done Thor Ragnarok. So it's not like it's going to be like an issue. I wouldn't presume it would be. I think if he's perhaps going to be getting into the Eternals and doing the cosmic side of things, then he really has to. I think after Suicide Squad, he'll come back and maybe focus on the MCU and Marvel side of things more full time. But if it's just going to be coming in to do this and then maybe coming back and forth and doing little bits for them, then it's not much of an issue. I'm going and working for the likes of Warner Bros. And I certainly think that's played a part as well in the decision to reinstate him, because the fact that he has went off to another studio and get another project right away, the Suicide Squad, he's produced Brightburn. So this is a guy who's got a whole host of options available to him. So I think that's kind of a perhaps shocked Disney as well. Look, we've wanted to wait until it all died down, get him back on board, and then I've seen him getting in right away and getting another project. And I thought, oh Christ, we better get him in quicker.
That's the power of the director, John. But we'll move on to our next article, which kind of ties in line with this anyway, what we're talking about. The Suicide Squad producer calls James Gunn's film a total reboot. The chap's name is Peter Safran, I believe.
Yes.
He's one of the producers of the film, and he had this to say: first of all, we don't call it Suicide Squad 2 because it's a total reboot.
Yeah.
So it's the Suicide Squad, and I think people should be extremely excited about it. It's everything you would hope from a James Gunn script. I think that says a lot, and that promises a lot, and I know that we will deliver a lot. Big statement, isn't it?
It is a big statement, Stephen. It doesn't surprise me a great deal, though, when I did see that they weren't really continuing, obviously, the numbered sort of iterations of the franchise going Suicide Squad 2. It did make me think the choice of the title, The Suicide Squad, right away, differentiating it from the first film, but in kind of saying this is a new take on the story. The fact that Will Smith's walked away, the fact that you're having this on-off issue with Margot Robbie, will she, won't she be in it? And then there was talk of a soft reboot. You're thinking to yourself, well, and then also we spoke about it last week. I think it was last week when we were talking about Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher, the Dream something. These new characters coming in, these colourful new sort of faces coming into the franchise. That made me think maybe it is a bigger reboot, and they were perhaps letting it on to be early on, and even just last week. So it's not a surprise to me to see that there's talk that it is perhaps a total reboot. It doesn't worry me because I wasn't that big a fan of the first Suicide Squad.
It was okay, John.
Is it Deadshot? Deadshot was Will Smith, wasn't it? Is that his character's name? I can't recall. But him, and obviously Margot Robbie's Joker, Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn. Not Jared Leto's Joker. He was terrible. Totally underutilised. But those two characters out with that, it was just a poor film for me. Even the Carla Delevingne film wasn't that great. The best, no great loss.
The best things about that film was Deadshot and Harley Quinn, as you said, John.
Yes.
For them not returning...
There's not much to build on.
Listen, if it's going to be a reboot, then I don't mind if Margot Robbie's not going to be in it and Will Smith's not going to be in it. If it was a Suicide Squad 2 or Suicide Squad 2, then I would expect them to be in it in some sort of role, whether it be a prominent role or just cameos or whatever.
And again, Stephen, that would be continuing on this whole DCEU thing, and they've already come out and says that isn't going to be happening. They're going to do more independent, self-contained stories, and if it leads to something down the road, then good. But I think they're trying to get away from the DCEU, differentiate themselves.
That's been their hang-up, John, from the start, though. They've tried to force-feed this in, and they don't have to go down that road. As you said, let's just make some standalone movies. You know, Wonder Woman might crop up in some film down the line, maybe in a cameo or something like that, then fair enough. Much like Batman did in the Suicide Squad, actually. It doesn't have to play a big part in any of the stories that they want to tell. I think it's the best way. It should have been the way they did it from the beginning. I think they were too heavily focused on what Marvel were doing, and I felt a lot of it was rushed. The Justice League film came out way too soon. We'd only 2-3 films at that point.
Man of Steel, Dawn of Justice, and Wonder Woman. Yeah, so 3 films.
So was the Suicide Squad as well?
The Suicide Squad was out before that,
That's a kind of disconnect from the Justice League.
I was going to say that, Stephen. I never really understood how they would have interconnected these 2 stories anyway. The Suicide Squad had a totally different vibe, a totally different tone, a more violent, grittier sort of a tone than the rest. I mean, the Dawn of Justice had a dark tone, to be fair. Also, the Justice League had a fairly darkish tone, but it wasn't like the Suicide Squad. The original Suicide Squad was a more gritty, violent, realistic sort of a film. Totally disconnected, and they were villainous sort of antagonists. A group of antagonists come together, forced to work as a combined group. It would never have really connected with the likes of Wonder Woman and Flash.
They threw the Batman scenes in at the very beginning just to show you this is part of the same world, and that was all you really got. But this reboot, is it coming too soon, hot on heels of the original one? It probably is. But will we forget about that first film if this is a success? Probably will.
I think we will, because as I did say, Stephen, those 2 characters out with that, I mean, there wasn't a great deal going on in the film. It wasn't an amazing film. It felt structurally a little bit strange. It's just a strange film in general. It didn't really go out with like 4 or 5 blocks worth of a city. The villain was small time and just lacklustre. It'll be completely forgotten if James Gunn comes in and does something even better with this story in this new film. I think the fact they've been able to attract a James Gunn in with his separate, distinct vision for this obviously new film, I think that's just, again, part of this new sort of a way they're dealing with the films now. Warner Brothers and DC, they're just taking it on a one-by-one basis, self-contained stories, and just going with it. They're not really getting bogged down by how it's going to interconnect with this film and that film, and tones and all of that, and they're just doing it film by film by film. And if it goes somewhere, then great. If it doesn't, then so be it. And that's why we're getting a reboot. They're not worrying about it being too close. And I mean, how many times have we had Batman films, Stephen?
Spider-Man as well.
Totally different actors, exactly. I mean, James Garfield and Andrew Garfield, James Garfield.
That's the thing about comic book films, John. You get away with it because the actual comic books do it as well. You know, they have different iterations of different characters, different storylines. We get to see Superman die, and then you know, in a new series he's back and that kind of thing. That's a good thing about comic books. You can do pretty much what you want, really.
I had to search up James Garfield there. He was the 20th president of the United States. It wasn't James Garfield, it definitely wasn't, Steve. But look, man, I don't think they're concerned about it being so close to the original Suicide Squad, as we've said. And listen, this hasn't been confirmed. This is just Peter Safran saying this in a throwaway sort of a comment that it's a total reboot. This is his view on things, but he has been the producer on the likes of Aquaman, and I think he's worked in various different films, Annabelle and stuff like that. So again, connected with James Wan, I really do think James Wan is going to assume that sort of a Kevin Feige role, and at Warner Brothers with DC, I think he's going to grow and grow, perhaps try and do his separate vision for the DCEU, or the whatever the hell they were calling it, what were they calling it, Stephen? The universe. I can't mind. It was terrible. DCEU, it was a terrible. No, but they changed it. Remember after it was like Comic-Con last year, they changed the name. But I digress. It doesn't matter. I think it's just representative of where DC are going now. They're taking it on a film-by-film basis, and I'm looking forward to it. The likes of Polka Dot, man, I cannot wait to see what comes next. Stephen, I'm going to change up the topic here. I was going to go to the Aaron Paul one, but I think we should just drift right into the Flash here and continue this DC
I think so, John.
vibe. I think it fits better, you know. I don't know if you want me to introduce it. It's all about the Flash. And Ezra Miller is talking about writing his own script.
They say panicking, John.
They say in a Hail Mary hope of staying on his character. And the general gist of this, Stephen, is that the deal for Ezra Miller to play the Flash ends this, I think it's May, and time's running out, and there's a lot of bickering, there's not much movement going on, so Ezra Miller has decided to take things into his own hands and pen the script himself, but he's not kind of getting on with the directors, and there's a whole host of, no, I think Ezra's screwed, which is a shame because I really like him. Yeah,
I like him as an actor, and I actually liked his version of The Flash as well, and that's when
apart from that running.
Yeah, but when I saw him in the Justice League, John, that was round about the same time I was watching the television series The Flash, which I loved.
Yeah.
It's kind of run its course now, but at that point, I thought the TV series was excellent. I thought Ezra Miller was a good casting choice as well.
He's a great actor.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but this is the sort of fallout of the DCEU. It's having an effect on all these actors that we loved portraying these DC characters like Will Smith. It's just a fallout from what's happened and what's coming next. Time is running out, unfortunately, for Ezra Miller.
Yes.
I'd like to have seen a standalone film. I think was it Flashpoint?
Flashpoint. I think it just got renamed to The Flash.
Yeah. So
there's a whole host of bickering. It's like the whole Gambit thing again, Stephen, with Channing Tatum. It's just never going to happen. It's never going to be.
How many times did we talk about that film?
We spoke about it about 5 times, and it's still not moved anything. Yeah, there was talk about it. I think he was assuming right as well at one point. Channing Tatum, very similar sort of a sequence of events, but it's not moving with him, and it certainly doesn't look like it's going to work out for Ezra. Look, it might pen a fantastic script that everybody gets on board with, and perhaps he'll heal the wounds between him. I think it's John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein who are directing it. He's been clashing with them. It's not looking good for him. They are coming off the back of Game Night, which I actually did enjoy, that brilliant little comedy mystery crime thing. It went off the rails in the last half hour. It was a pretty damn good film. They actually wrote Spider-Man Homecoming as well, so I do wonder why they're finding Ezra's finding it necessary to kind of pen his own script. Why can these guys not do it? I don't know what's going on there. It's a strange thing. It strikes me that perhaps Warner Brothers are trying to cut ties with him. They're trying to run the deal down. And
it's funny because I don't think they're doing the same for the lady that plays Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. I don't think they're running the clock down for her because they know that they're on to a cash cow with her portrayal.
And again, Stephen, I think the issue here is that Miller's insisting on writing darker content for this film, and I think that's not jiving. As I like the word I like to use, a 70s word. It's not jiving with Warner Brothers and DC's new vision for this. The films, they're going the more lighter route with Shazam, Aquaman.
Well, I was going to say, John, I would have loved to have saw some interactions between Ezra Miller's The Flash and Shazam. I think just the
they'd have been great.
Just the humour between the two of them, even throwing Aquaman in there as well, because I think his humour is very similar. In particular in the Justice League film, but it's just a shame, John. It's bad timing more than anything. There's always these what-if scenarios with certain actors, as you say, Channing Tatum with that character. I would have loved to have seen. It's a very interesting character. We got a glimpse of him in the Wolverine Origins movie, which was pretty bad, but the character was one of the better things in it. But it's just one of the things. It's all part of the business.
It is. Sad as it is, Stephen, I would love to see though penning a fantastic script and winning an award for it.
I thought you were about to say Fantastic Four there.
No. That'll come. They're part of Fox, aren't they? And it's playing them with Disney. We'll get one soon. But look, it'd be great to see him penning a good script and then turning up with one of these wacky outfits to perhaps the Golden Globes or the Oscars and winning the award. That'd be amazing. It's not going to happen though. They don't recognise comic book movies. But Stephen, I've not got much more to add to it. It's a shame. I like Ezra Miller, but if time will tell what it's to be. If it's to be, it will be.
We'll move on, John, to our next article. Away from the comic books now. I think you were right to shuffle them about there, because this would have been...
It's going crazy at the end.
Yeah, so Aaron Paul offers clues about a possible Breaking Bad movie, John. I thought this might appeal to yourself. Breaking Bad, I've never seen it. I've never watched it. Listen, but
Vince Gilligan's name.
Yeah, I know.
The guy involved in X-Files, which you love so much.
Aaron Paul did say this, John. Rumours are funny. I once heard a rumour that I was going to be cast as Han Solo. I remember that actually. Paul said he's not got the forehead for it.
He's not. He's got my forehead.
Paul said, I haven't heard anything about the Breaking Bad movie, but if there is one and it comes together, I'd love to be part of it. And just as I was reading that quote there, an advert just popped up there, so I memorised that quite well. But listen, you're probably better having a view on this than myself, John. In my experience of television series crossing over to movie land is a bit of a mixed bag. depends. Really depends on the team that are working on it. If you can get
I think it's Vince Gilligan was the guy that was rumoured to be coming in, Stephen, and directing and writing it. If you get the same
team back together again and it's the right story, and
I just don't know how it would work though, because Walt White's dead. He was the primary protagonist throughout the story.
It really depends, John, where they want to set it, you know, because they can do a storyline that's sort of in between the whole story arc, if they like. It depends really where they want to take it. Just as you mentioned X-Files there, that first X-Files movie worked very well because it was part of the series, it's part of the storyline in the series.
And it was sandwiched in between perhaps the two best seasons of X-Files.
But you didn't have to watch it to you know, get the episodic collection. But then they made that one
with Billy Connolly. It was more like a traditional monster of the monster of the week sort of thing. It just didn't work, you know. Unfortunately, I think they left it too long as well. I think this might suffer the same thing. What is it, 10 years since Breaking Bad? I don't think it's that long, no. I think it's probably about 4 or 5 years, maybe 5 or 6 years.
From when it started?
Oh, from when it started, it's been a while, I actually was a late comer. I started watching it after it had finished, and I got to binge watch it from start to finish. And for me, it's one of the greatest TV shows ever made, and what helped make it so good was the character of Jesse Pinkman, a very different sort of a guy to Walt White, played by obviously Bryan Cranston. Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston had great chemistry on and off the screen. Those two different characters, the way they mixed together. There was two strange bedfellows. I quite like using that term. I've used it a lot recently. But that's what really powered the story. But Walt White's dead now, so he's right in what he says. If a film's going to be coming out and he's going to be starring in it, he's going to be the lead character. So it's going to be focused on Jesse after the death of Walt White, I'd presume, and where he goes, because he was in a very strange place. Want to see that, though? I don't know. Jesse's a much beloved character. He likes to use bitch a lot, magnets, bitch science, bitch, things like that. Brilliant character. He's got a special place in a lot of people's hearts. So I presume, if it's done right and it's handled well, there's still... I'm pretty sure Saul Goodman survived Breaking Bad. It's been a while since I watched it.
Was that a prequel?
That was a prequel, that's kind of getting in now, I think, to Breaking Bad here. I'd do another spin-off, fantastically written TV show. A lot of people don't like it as much. I think it's really, really good. So it shows that they can kind of repeat the success on the TV screen. Could they repeat it, bring it up into a bigger sort of a cinematic experience? I don't know, Stephen. But one thing I do know, I think he's been a little bit coy here with the talk of the film, saying he doesn't know anything about it. I seem to recall this was kind of announced that it was definitely going to be happening. It might have not. It may be like the Matt Smith episode 9 thing. Once again, I made it up. Or it's I
can imagine the likes of Aaron Paul getting asked this question. Every year since it came off air, you know.
The thing is, Stephen, the final thing I'll say is that obviously he's going to want to play the role because his career's not really took off since Breaking Bad, which is a shame because he's a really, really good actor, very capable. But he's made some poor decisions after the team round about him have made some poor decisions. I think he was in a Need for Speed film, which wasn't that bad, but it wasn't great either. And he's made some poor decisions and his career's not where it should be. So I would completely understand him wanting to come back on and reprise his role as Jesse Pinkman, because it's something that can maybe jolt his career, bring him back into prominence for a whole host of different people, and maybe get him starring in bigger, better films than what perhaps he's starring in just now. But I think it will happen. I do think it will happen. I think they'll get Aaron Paul on board, and I would definitely want to see it because I love Breaking Bad. I love Vince Gilligan, and if he's going to try and create a film, then I'm in the cinema no matter what, Stephen. So
I'll just move on to our last topic, John. This is quite a bizarre one that came in from Slash Film. I think it's actually on various news platforms, but this is Creed 2 may have almost featured another cameo by Apollo Creed's ghost.
Jesus Christ.
Dolph Lundgren had this to say: it was a great idea, I thought, to bring Nielsen back. Bridget Nielsen, that is. In the original first draft, it was Apollo that came back, or like his ghost or something. It was a little hokey, who knows? So I think it was much better to bring Bridget back. I think so as well. This takes me back to Carol Weathers playing Chubbs Peterson. Having seen he's standing next to Abraham Lincoln in that damn alligator.
That took his arm.
I think this would have been a terrible idea. I don't know if this was ever true, whether or not Sylvester Stallone might have been...
I fully believe this was true. You recall the talks about Clubber Lang coming in? I was about to say Lubber Clang.
But that's more believable.
It's more believable, but they have got they've got a propensity for wanting to bring back unlikely characters. And it doesn't matter how they fit or jive into the actual story, they want to bring them back. But look, this would have been ridiculous, man. But I find it intriguing that they say they swapped him about for Bridget Nielsen's character. Because obviously, if you watch Creed 2, Bridget Nielsen's character is a sort of a haunting figure for obviously, what's he called, Stephen? Jesus Christ, Ivan Drago. Yeah. She's like the haunting figure, the past haunting him. And what could have been if he had hinted in this?
Yeah, remind him of his failures. Yeah.
So we swapped that with the ghost of Apollo. Would have been very interesting indeed. It wouldn't have worked though. It'd have went all Hereditary, sort of The Conjuring.
Well, that's where you've got to find the balance, John. I always found the character of Rocky Balboa, I could accept him clinging on to the past and reminiscing quite a bit, but when you have the whole universe doing the same thing, it becomes very unrealistic. I don't know how it would have worked, whether it would have been a flashback. I don't really know much what Dolph Lundgren means. He didn't really elaborate on the scene in question, as it said, but it must have just been one of the ideas. I actually think Sylvester Stallone might have been pulling his leg. I think that's the type of humour the man's got, and he might have been winding him up that they were going to do a scene with Carol Weathers.
Look, I love Carol Weathers, man. He's popping up in, I think it's The Mandalorian, isn't it?
He is, yeah.
So he's a great actor for his time.
Yep.
He's no Marlon Brando.
Calm down.
But this was just ridiculous. This is a ridiculous idea. They rightly booted it out. I think it probably was a joke, Stephen. I think they were pulling poor old Dolph Lundgren's leg, man. But it's a dangerous thing to do because Dolph's a big man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pull his leg. But look, I'm glad it didn't happen. I'd much rather Clubber Lang come in. But there's always a time and a place for perhaps Carol Weathers to resume his role, reprise his role as Apollo. Lord knows how they'd fit that in.
Eye of a Tiger, man.
Eye of a Tiger. What was the other one? There was another one, wasn't there? Two rival hearts.
There was lots, John.
Running along the beach. Yeah, but I digress, Stephen. I'm done.
Fair enough, John. Listen, that just brings us to the end of this week's Movie Burner News. We'd just like to thank you again for joining us, and we'll be back again tomorrow with the blog rundown.
If you're liking this video, then why not check out our other content on our channel? Every Tuesday we break down the top 10 films in the UK on Box Office Chat. Every Wednesday we discuss the latest entertainment news on Movie Burner News. Every Thursday we chat about the latest movie reviews from our writing team on the blog rundown. And we wrap up the week and get ready for the weekend with the Force Friday show, where we discuss the latest news in the world of Star Wars. If you're liking the content we are putting out, then do subscribe to our channel by hitting that subscribe button and click the bell to receive alerts.